All right, today we're gonna use charcoal. I'm gonna show you one particular way of using charcoal. This is a stick of charcoal here. You should be using something like this to get started. I just didn't like the way this particular one was working, so I'm gonna use these smaller ones. But you could draw with charcoal normally. The nice thing about charcoal is we call it vagrant. It moves around a lot. It smudges. So I can take it and smudge it around. That's why people like charcoal. It's pretty dirty, so when you use charcoal, be ready to get dirty. But what we're gonna do today is get gray all over. Hopefully, you've all started to realize it's a real pain in the butt to start with the white surface and then have to color in a dark background. So what we're going to do is get the background dark first, and then work out from the darks. And as we move into the tone paper, as the semester comes to a close, this will be a helpful exercise. So you should get yours like this and scrub it all over. I'm going to do this with these smaller pieces here. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take this. It might make a nasty squeaky noise like that. Yep. If you don't like that and want to avoid it, I would put a drawing pad underneath it. So we're just gonna try and coat. I'm not gonna coat the whole paper here. I'm just gonna coat part of this, but you should coat your whole paper. I'm just gonna coat just enough for the sake of the demonstration, because I've got tiny little pieces to work with. There we go. Okay, so we're just scrubbing this all over. Now, to clear it off, you're going to have to blow on it, because if you wipe it, a lot of it's going to wipe off. You need to be working on the charcoal paper. There's a sheet of Strathmore charcoal paper. That's a toothier paper. It has more bumps, so it'll hold on to the charcoal a little bit better. And then if you want to get a more even surface, you can go in and smooth it out like that. So that's what we're trying to get. We're trying to get to some kind of mid-gray. Your hands are going to look totally nasty, but they're going to keep being nasty as we work with charcoal. So maybe clean them off at this point, but they're just going to get dirty again. All right, now that we've got the surface covered with like a mid-gray, we're going to start working out. So I'm going to be using the kneadable eraser. I still have a little stick of charcoal here. I've got a dark charcoal pencil. You should have 3 of these. And I'm going to be using the white Conte, but you should be using the white pencil that came with your charcoal. They'll work about the same. The charcoal will work better. So what we're going to do now is start drawing out from the middle. And by drawing out from the middle, I mean putting in lights where there's lights and darks where there's darks. So I'll just go ahead and make up a face here. I'm just going to erase out where the forehead would be and erase out the nose. It's going to be a dark, gloomy fellow. Erasing out the cheekbones. And the chin. Give him some ears. The scary looking dude. Looks like an orc. Okay, we'll make it into an orc or a goblin. All right, so you'll see it looks like the character here is emerging. Give him some hair. Emerging out of the fog, and we're doing that with the erasing. The nice thing about the kneadable eraser is I can get it to come to a point as well. and then get more like a drawing tool, more fine-tuned. Remember, as this gets dirty like that and I want to clean it, it's getting a little too dark there. I'll just stretch it around. That redistributes the charcoal into the material, and it will be a nice clean eraser again, and I can go erase out more. All right, so this is just a value and shape-based equivalent of a gesture drawing. That's one of the things we want to be doing as we move into charcoal, is quit thinking about line and perimeter so much. You're going to be looking at big areas of light and darks. So we're not sketching in with a contour drawing anymore. We're mapping in a foggy area of light and dark. Once I get this, now I can go back maybe with this and start putting in some more of the darks. Again, I'm working real loose and foggy because I can come back, and if I don't like something, it's just that easy to get rid of it. I can do that to soften up some edges and create some gradients as well. With this material, I'm not going to get probably all the way dark. And you'll notice I'm not able to get all the way white either. Some people will be able to, depending on their paper and the type of charcoal they have. So I can go in and get the darks darker. Remember, if you want to lighten it, if you want to get rid of the extra material below on it, if you do this, it's just going to smudge it back down to the paper, basically. You can have a paper towel around the smudge as well. It's a very grumpy looking goblin guy here. And notice, again, I'm working in big areas of light and dark. Trying to think area over perimeter. Working loose and foggy at first, and I'll get things tighter and brighter and darker as I go. When this pencil doesn't get dark enough anymore, when you basically sketched in most of this, then you can, oh no, well, we'll go ahead and use a broken one. Then you can switch over to these pencils. These will get much darker, and they'll still smudge, but not as much. They're not as vagrant. All right, and that will give you more fine-tuned control. And then you can just use your fingers to blend in and stuff like that. Remember, even though we're doing blending, you want to still think like directional. You still want to apply your directional mark making. You don't want to just come and blend like this. It will flatten everything out. So whatever I'm doing, I'm still trying to think like, okay, I'm on a neck, the neck rounds out like that. I'm going to go ahead and do some directional mark making. And then if you need to get to the whites, same thing. You can come in with the white charcoal because you're not able to erase down far enough, and you can put in the whites. Sorry for all the squeaky noises. That's just part of working with this wonderful material. And you'll see what I did there, trying to blend it in. I actually made it dirtier. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back in there again. Make sure I've got a clean finger this time. And blend it out and put it in some more. Put a highlight on the nose. And I can go back and forth. These pencils do pretty well. I can blend them into each other too. So you can pile up layers of these things and get these mid-tones. Notice that when I mix the two, it makes a cooler gray, whereas where the charcoal's interacting with the paper makes a warmer gray. And you can kind of use that to your advantage sometimes to get warm and cool grays. So you might want to do some blending like this as well between the pencils, like one into the other. Or I could take the black pencil and blend it into the white to get these different grays. Okay, so those are the basic techniques that you can use when you're going into charcoal, especially with this idea of starting from this mid-tone ground that we created for ourselves. Now, when you're working on the homework of the trees, you could start it like this, or you could just go out there and just draw. Charcoal's nice because you can get it on its side and get these big bold marks like that. So you can really use like line weight to your advantage. And there's a lot of people that are very successful at drawing with charcoal that way. Definitely not my style, so I'm going to do a terrible demo. But you can do that, or you can do this when you're drawing the tree for the homework with the charcoal. Okay, so that's charcoal. Have fun with it and be ready to get messy.